So I know it seems like I only watch kids movies. However, I assure you this is not the case. I actually love thrillers. Want to know something I hate? Water, which is what makes this movie all the more intense. Sanctum is a movie that pretty much revolves around a group of people trying not to drown, and it honestly does a pretty good job at such a simple goal. It turns that goal into something that's actually pretty challenging. I know what you're thinking, right? Just breathe. Well, unfortunately for this group of people, it's not that easy. The movie follows a group of cave explorers trying to unlock this secret chamber within a cave that no human has ever seen before. Spoiler alert, they find the secret chamber within the first 27 minutes, but that's where the death starts. Sanctum is a movie I remember watching with my parents when I was younger, and I honestly didn't appreciate it that much back then. To be fair, I hardly remember it, but that's because kids are usually not too into thrillers. However, I am so glad that I gave this movie a second chance. If you have HBO Max, go watch this movie right now. Alright, no more fluff, no more filler, let's start talking about this movie. As I stated earlier, this movie follows a bunch of cave dudes. Well, let me tell you who these cave dudes are. I'm going to simplify this because there were honestly a lot of characters to pay attention to. We have a rich guy, the guy who's funding the entire operation. Cave guy, the guy who's the leader of the actual caving team. He's a pro, hence his name being Cave Guy. You know, honestly, I probably should have just called him Cave Expert like I did in my notes, but I've already said Cave Guy, so we're just gonna roll with it. Next, we have the girlfriend, and alright guys, I know we like a strong female character, and that's what's, all the rage and hip these days, but honestly, her only purpose was to literally just be the girlfriend, so I'm just gonna call her the girlfriend. Apparently, Rich Guy met the girlfriend on an Everest expedition, but none of her skills are really portrayed. In fact, she actually dies doing stuff she'd have to do on Everest, which makes even less sense because he met her on Everest, but we'll get to that later. Rounding out the roster, we have Fizzy Guy. He got decompression sickness, or the bends, one time, and that put him out of diving commission. Unfortunately, he was forced to dive again or drown. And finally, we have the kid. Not the rapper Rich the Kid, but Cave Guy's kid. So he's going to be called the Kid, and the Kid is also the major character, or main character, but he's also a major character within the plot, obviously. Speaking of plot, the plot is pretty much Rich Guy is paying Cave Guy to find this part of the cave and have it named after him. You know, the typical rich, arrogant guy who wants to make a name for himself trope that's in a lot of movies, It's kind of weird because the kid actually is first shown with Rich Guy and the girlfriend. It kind of makes it seem like he's their kid, but nope, he's Cave Guy's kid. One thing that really impressed me about this movie is that it does not really seem like a thriller. You honestly would not be able to tell from the beginning of the movie that it was a thriller or any type of movie where people died. The beginning gives more of a journey to the center or Jurassic Park vibes, specifically because the helicopter flyover shot was very reminiscent of Jurassic Park. The first 27 minutes of the movie could be shown to somebody who had no idea what the movie was about, and they think it was just a PG, woo, let's go explore this cave, it's gonna be fun, everyone's gonna be safe type of movie. Sanctum was fantastic at subverting expectations in that regard. Anyways, Rich Guy decides to take the girlfriend into the cave to see what he's wasting all his money on. The kid goes too, mostly because his dad forces him to go on all these crazy expeditions, which is honestly pretty bad parenting, but to each their own. They were all notified that there was going to be a weather advisory about a storm, but Cave Guy decides he'll wait until the last second to pull his team out. Unfortunately, the storm gets upgraded into a monsoon, and communication with the cavers is cut.
Forward base, you copy? If you can hear me, the storm is right on top of us. Now it's blown straight in from the coast. God damn it, Frank, pick up! Frank, can you hear me?
Obviously, bing bang bop, the rain floods into the cave since it's literally just a giant crevice in the earth, and there we have our story. I have to give credit where credit's due go. Rich Guy really surprised me. Sanctum broke the guy who's rich and funding the project has no idea what they're doing. He's got skills. He's got serious skills. They broke that trope. Usually in movies, the rich person tends to have no clue what's going on or no clue what the hard workers are going through. But not only is he a pretty great caver, but he also leaped headfirst into danger with the parachute instead of scaling down the rock face like a normal person.
Rawlinson again. Tell him he can kiss my ass. Wanker.
It was made pretty clear from the beginning that this guy had been around, and I mean, come on, he's climbed Everest, so what did you expect? Now that characters and whatnot are out of the way, let's talk about the things that made this movie so great, you know? To put it simply, everything. I honestly have no complaints about this movie at all. They paid extreme attention to detail and had an amazing and beautiful shot composition. One scene that really impressed me in particular was when Cave Guy put his knife down and the camera focused on it. It seemed like it had nothing to do with the movie, or that somebody was going to go for the knife and try to off one of the others. I don't know, maybe if they're oxygen or something, because that's at a premium at this type of situation. However, this was not the case. Apparently, he put the knife down to gauge how fast the water was filling the cave up. Now that's what I call attention to detail. And another really great aspect of this movie was the lights. Rich Guy was trying to film a behind the scenes type of thing for National Geographic, and he starts filming the kid and asks about his father, Cave Guy. Anyways, the kid says that his dad is pathetic. You know, as most angsty teens do. That's become a reoccurring trend with this kind of thing. Anyway, he says cavers are obsessed with lights. They're almost like trophies. The kid reviews that his dad wrestled an animal for his tooth. I think it was a boar, but I'm not quite sure. Anyways, he put the light in a boar's tooth and gave it to him as a gift. This might not seem like a big deal, but once the cave loses power due to the hurricane, that's monsoon, that's whatever you want to call it, their only light source is flashlights. Once all the flashlights run out, the tooth saves the kid's life. That's some pretty awesome plotting right there, and they're really good attention to detail, so awesome. They also made water seem very dangerous, which it is in real life, of course, but most people seem to forget about that. We're shown very early how dangerous water can be, actually. Rip Jude. But yeah, seriously, one of the Cave Guy's team members decides to go diving when they clearly had a lack of sleep, and she messes up. Cave Guy tries to save her, but unfortunately it's too late, and we're given this really grim suffocation scene that honestly haunted me for a while when I was younger and I watched this movie. But it's not just the watery deaths, it's every single death in this movie. They all caused me so much anxiety before it happened, and I've seen this movie before, that's crazy. It takes a really good sound design team and really good filmmakers to make you feel nervous when you know what's going to happen. Sound design actually brings me to my next point. In terms of sound design, that would be the one thing that kind of threw me off. It's not that it was bad in this movie or anything, but it kind of broke immersion at some points. Even when I was a kid and I watched this, I thought the sound choices for a few things was wacky, to say the least. To be fair, I literally remembered Cave Guy's death not because he died, but because of the weird sound, all the weird sounds in his death sequence that were present. Seriously, he got impaled by stalagmites or stalactites. Maybe it's stalagmites. I think it's stalagmites because they might hit you in the head. So it's stalactites. That would be on the floor. Whatever. Okay, so Cave Guy unfortunately gets impaled by a rock. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and say it's a rock. He gets impaled by a rock. None other than the rich guy. When Rich Guy's girlfriend gets her scalp yanked open and falls to her death into the, as Cave Guy would say, meat grinder, it kinda sets him on a dark path.
You understand me? Get up to her!
And as you can imagine, Rich Guy blames Cave Guy for everything bad that's happening to everyone, since Cave Guy is kind of the de facto leader of this group. Seriously though, why does the sound of pulling a rock out of Cave Guy's back, a sharp rock, not to mention, make twig snapping sounds? Maybe it's just me? I don't know. Like I said, it's not important, just an observation. this just shows how much I enjoyed this movie. The only negative thing I can think of might have been completely in my head. I don't know, I need a second opinion. Let's move on. Finally, the character development was pretty great in this movie. There wasn't too much of it, as most of the people ended up dead pretty quickly, so there wouldn't have been time. But when there was character development, it was pretty great. At one point, Cave Guy and the kid are climbing up a rock face because the kid realizes there's bat poop through a little tunnel moving upwards. Obviously, the bats didn't swim down there, so there must be a way out in that direction, right? Alright, so as they're climbing, Cave Guy sings a poem, and the kid says, "I didn't know you like poetry." He replies, "I don't, but your mom did." The kid then asks his dad to teach it to him, and the scene continues with them both saying the words to the poem as they ascend higher and higher. You have to remember, the kid hates Cave Guy. He straight out tried to accuse his dad of murder in front of the rest of his caving team when Jude died.
See? You just fucking yanked some Oscar away from them.
I don't see it that way, Josh.
Josh, no.
Hey, Josh. You've got no fucking idea
No,
what
he
you're talking
killed
about.
her.
That's bullshit.
She is dead.
That's
and it's
bullshit.
because of him.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Oh,
Listen to me.
fuck off.
Listen to me. Buddy breathing with a full face mask is the most radical thing you can possibly do underwater. He was insane to even try it.
It was the most heroic goddamn thing I've ever
No,
seen.
that's bullshit.
Listen to me. This wasn't a case of him or her, Josh. This was about there being one body down there or two.
The small bonding moment might not have seemed like much to those with functional families, but from a writing aspect, it's a very, the moment was written very well to convey that this was a big deal for someone who was a more absent father. Like, that was a big bonding moment. It was a big step for him. The only other bit of character development was something I already mentioned. It was just when the girlfriend died and rich guy turned into a bad guy. Yeah, alright. Now, I wish I could talk about Fizzy Guy, but there isn't much to say. He shares a story about the kid's dad with the kid, and it kind of humanizes Cave Guy, but other than that, Fizzy Guy's main, his main purpose was kind of just to die, or to show us how bad decompression sickness was. So, rip him. You were a good character. You served your purpose.
George! You don't have to do this! George! George, where are you?
All in all, Sanctum is a fantastic movie. If you're afraid of drowning, please don't watch this. But if you like this type of thriller or any type of thriller, it's great. Seriously, 10 out of 10, no complaints here. When you think about it though, everything that happened kind of had to happen. Only one of them was ever going to be able to make it out of the cave. There was simply just not enough air left. Let's say Cave Guy did survive the assault from Rich Guy. Okay, great. His plan was to buddy breathe with the kid. That wouldn't have worked because the kid already ran out of air as is. He was just lucky that he happened to be close to the exit. With two of them sharing the same small air supply, they would have not only moved slower, but they would have burned through the air much faster, and ultimately would have led to their watery graves. The fact that this was based on a true story also brings a little bit to the emotional drama, and it's fantastic. Out of every script that was ever written for a potential movie based off of a true story, I'm glad this one was one of the ones that was given a green light. Hey guys, if you're still listening to me talk, that means you made it to the end. It also means that I think you are fantastic, each and every one of you. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe for weekly videos every Friday. I also greatly appreciate comments and respond to every discussion-based comment. Anyways, as always, if you have an opinion, I want to talk about it, and I will see you in the next one next week. Goodbye.